Hello, and thank you for being part of the League of Women Voters of McHenry County Candidates Forum. My name is Kate Williams, and I'm the president of the League. Founded in 1920 in Chicago, the League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan political organization that neither supports, opposes, or recommends candidates for office. When founded, the purpose was really to help educate and inform the new female voters who had just won the right to vote. The League's purpose is to promote responsibility through the informed and active participation of all citizens. Providing this forum enables the members of the community to be better informed about the issues facing our community and the candidates that are running for office. So we're really pleased to offer this. All questions have been submitted by League members and by members of the public. The candidates have received and agreed to the guidelines of the forum. Each candidate will have a 2-minute opening statement, a 1 minute to answer the questions, and we'll end with a 2-minute closing statement from each candidate. They've drawn lots to determine the order, and we'll rotate the speaking order so each candidate has the opportunity to answer the question first. This forum today is for the 3 candidates from the Democratic Party that are running for McHenry County Board District 2. Being a candidate for public office is a right, a civic responsibility, and a privilege to represent your constituency. So candidates, thank you for stepping up to run for office. This forum is being completed on a Zoom platform. The recording will be featured on our Facebook account and then a link to our YouTube channel. The candidates may also link to that page, but must use the forum in its entirety. The League encourages voters to exercise their right to vote. This year, Tuesday, June 28th, is Illinois primary election day. As part of the 10-year cycle of redistricting maps, almost every voting district has been redrawn. As a result, many of the lines and boundaries have changed, and precinct lines have changed. It's important that voters know what precinct they're voting and that new polling location. New voting cards were recently mailed out and may need to be revised again. Please watch your mail, voters. Take the time to read and check out what precinct you're in and your voting location. As they say, avoid the lines and request a ballot to be sent to you so you can vote by mail. Early voting starts June 1st. Visit the McHenry County Clerk's website for all the details. Vote by mail, vote early, or vote on election day, but please exercise your right to vote. Now on to today's forum. I'm pleased to recognize our team today. Lee Ekstrom will be doing our timing, and Anna Giffords, our well-trained moderator. So now I'm going to turn the forum over to Anna. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here. We will begin with our opening statements, and since the order has been drawn, Gloria, you can begin, please, with your 2-minute opening statement.
Thank you, Anna, and thank you, Kate and Lee, for having us here and hosting this forum. My name is Gloria Van Hoff, and I'm a Democratic candidate for County Board in the new District 2. I would like to note that while I've been involved as a community activist for many years, I don't consider myself a politician. I'm a mom, a writer, a previous business owner, a licensed nursing home administrator, a merit commissioner since 2001. I serve on the Friends of MCC Foundation Board, and along with Pamela Altoff, we conducted the first Underground Railroad tour in McHenry County in 1993. I chose to plant my roots here, raise my children here, write a column for the local paper, volunteer in the community, host a cable TV show called People You Should Know in McHenry County, and taught in the schools and worked in businesses here. I would like the opportunity to serve on the McHenry County Board because I believe I can make positive contributions to the county where I've lived for the past 46 years. Like you, I want to see the county grow and prosper. By serving on the county board, I believe I can help improve communication, transparency, diplomacy, economic vitality, community identity, and effective management of our resources. As a board member, I will bring fresh perspectives, positive approaches, and creative ideas to the McHenry County Board using my past experience of planning, leadership, fiscal, and budgetary responsibilities, working with regulatory agencies, and collaboration with individuals from diverse backgrounds. Please consider me for McHenry County Board, District 2.
Thank you. Thomas?
Thank you. My name is Thomas Pavelko, and I want to represent District 2 in the McHenry County Board. Let me begin by thanking the McHenry County League of Women Voters for sponsoring tonight's candidate forum. I'm a lawyer with more than 35 years experience in the practice of law. Graduated from Washington University School of Law in St. Louis and have an undergraduate degree from Marquette University in Milwaukee. I've twice held elective office, first as an alderman in the city of Baldwin, Missouri, and more recently on the village board in Lake in the Hills. My wife, son, and I moved to Crystal Lake 18 years ago, and we've resided there since. I love McHenry County and want to see its best. When the pandemic ends, I expect a boom of business activity. And with that, I want to be part of the board to help the county encourage economic development, bring new industry and businesses to the county, grow the tax base, and bring good jobs to our community members. It will also, by raising up that tax base, I would hope to reduce the tax burden upon our citizens. Tonight, I look forward to sharing more of my vision for McHenry County at its best. Thank you.
Thank you. John, may we have your opening statement?
Thank you. First, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for this opportunity this evening. Your work in ensuring that everyone has a right to vote and working to protect those rights is more important than ever today. My name is John Collins, and I'm the current District 2 representative on the McHenry County Board. I was appointed in March of 2021 to fill the seat of Ms. Suzanne Ness, who was elected to the Illinois House. I strongly believe in order to be effective and make a difference, one has to learn to listen. Not just hear, but really listen to what other board members are saying and my constituents are saying as well. It is with that in mind that I spent my first few months listening and working to understand how the board operated and the issues the board was facing. I learned that most of the issues that we face are not political. They deal with things like bridge work, road work, contracts, figuring out the best way to spend resources, particularly during a pandemic. But as always, there are a few that are political. In the past 2 years, 2 of them were the ICE contract and the flying of the pride flag at the Woodstock Governmental Center. In both cases, I was a forceful advocate for my constituents and what was right. While we were not successful on the ICE contract, I believe we did get people to recognize the importance of spending time discussing that issue. We were successful on the pride flag and made sure that was flown. And I'm prepared to defend that today, because that'll be an issue again this coming up month. Again, I wish to thank the League of Women Voters, as well as Ms. Van Hoff and Mr. Plachik, and looking forward to tonight's forum. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to begin with the first question, and I will start with Thomas. As electric vehicles increase, there will be a need for more locales for charging them. What ideas do you have for the county to offer incentives for businesses and community areas to make more parking areas with charging stations available?
Thank you. That's a great question. I agree that the age of electric vehicles is here. You see every major car manufacturer transitioning to EVs, and it makes perfect sense because of the environment and how it has been devastated by carbon emissions. I personally am excited to see that the county is that there are opportunities already in Crystal Lake, where the near the train station there are stations, charging stations available. I think that the best opportunity resides with gas stations also transitioning, and I think that the county should do everything it can to help those stations bring in the electric charging stations that are needed to charge up electric vehicles.
Thank you. Thank you very much. John, would you like me to read the question again?
No, it's okay. Thank you. This is one of the challenges for the county, in that the county does not have necessarily buildings or land that are typically in well-populated areas, except for the county center and some other buildings. So it's really incumbent upon the cities and villages and towns of the county to explore and put charging stations in. The county's role in that is to be encouraging that. The county in the past year and a half has brought in a person who is coordinating with all the different municipalities to try and better pull together resources and develop ideas to better all the citizens of McHenry County. So I see the county's role in this as being a leader, encouraging the municipalities to take this effort and using what resources we can to help them develop that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gloria, would you like me to reread the question?
Please do.
As electric vehicles increase, there will be a need for more locales for charging them. What ideas do you have for the county to offer incentives to businesses and community areas to make more parking areas with charging stations available?
Well, I believe it's the role of the county to provide as much information to the individual municipalities as they can and make them aware of grants that may be possible. Now, I know that there are grants such as, it used to be called the CDAP. I think it has a different acronym now, but it's actually just a grant or loan that you can get from the state of Illinois, and it's available to several counties in Illinois, and McHenry is one of them. So I would encourage municipalities to take the role in doing that and encouraging businesses to provide it for their employees, and working along, with partnerships with the state to provide financing for that. I know that there is money for infrastructure improvements in the Build Back Better plan introduced by Biden. So I would advise municipalities to see what is out there and take advantage of that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. My next question is for John. What more can the county do to protect areas' water resources, particularly during the severe dry periods and as land goes through future development?
Well, the primary mechanism to do that is the UDO, which is the land development. And part of the UDO calls for a study done for groundwater when any type of building is going to be done or property usage is going to happen within the county. And by looking at that and making sure that what's going to be done in that area meets the UDO, we can protect our water resources dramatically. Again, this is another area that we have to take a leadership role with the cities and municipalities of the county, and helping them to understand what's available to them, understand what the ramifications are, some of the decisions that they're making, and then work together to come up with solutions that benefit the entire county. Thank you.
Thank you. Gloria?
I think this is an area where municipalities, the county, and the state and local conservation districts can work together. There are all kinds of, one of the things that I learned when I was on the planning commission in Hebron, when we were under a consent decree because one of the companies there had polluted Nipissing Creek. And so we had to clean it up. And I was on this planning commission and charged with getting an expert there to educate us about what we could do. And I called the state of Illinois, and a hydrologist came up and spoke to us and told us exactly where we could site a new well. So I think sometimes we forget that there are experts out there outside of the county that we can reach out to, and even expertise at institutions like McHenry County College, where people are going outside of the state looking for resources when we have information right here at home. Thank you.
Thank you. Thomas.
I think that the key is the McHenry County Conservation District. Certainly as residences and businesses develop, there are studies and so forth that are conducted. And I was on the Plan Commission also in Lake in the Hills, and remember that was always a key issue to have to make sure that runoff was done in a proper manner to avoid loss of rainwater. And I think that McHenry County has an excellent system with the Conservation District of retaining land, keeping it as wetlands, maintaining our creeks, our rivers, and our lakes to maximize the conservation of those waterways.
Thank you. Question number 3 starts with Gloria. McHenry County has been a leader in so many areas such as mental health, shared services, substance abuse, etc. What has been a beneficial outcome of these programs?
Well, one benefit that I could see right away, I've been on the Merit Commission since 2001. And one of the things that I have seen is that if you go on the website now for the McHenry County Sheriff's Department, you will see a different website than what you would have seen 10 years ago or even 2 years ago, because they did hire someone who's a young person who was able to go on and not only stress the law and order portion of what is important, but also the service that you can get from civil servants that's in the name. And so one of the things that McHenry County has done is that they've hired a social worker. So they have a police social worker who comes to the scene when there's a social issue involved or mental health issue. And this has already shown a benefit. It has increased the trust in the system, and it serves people who are not just being violent because they are ignoring the law, but because they may have a mental health issue.
Thank you. Thomas, would you like me to ask the question again, or are you good?
Oh, you can please ask it again. That'd be great.
McHenry County has been a leader in so many areas such as mental health, shared services, substance abuse, etc. What has been a beneficial outcome of these programs?
Thank you. So I have a special needs brother, and know that a great community, a great county takes care of the least of these, and it just means a great deal to me that I can see that McHenry County has these excellent services. Individuals who are undergoing substance abuse problems, mental health issues, they need our concern, they need our help, and I'm just pleased that we have the facilities here to meet those needs, because like I say, that's what makes McHenry County great.
Thank you. John?
Thank you. I think there's two things that have come out of that. One is our former director of mental health services is now at the Illinois Supreme Court, where he's taken the programs that he developed here for the county and bringing those statewide. Because McHenry County is recognized across the state of Illinois as a leader in shared services and mental health and in dealing with drug abuse type issues. The second area is the area that Gloria mentioned, which is a social worker program. That is a program that they were piloting with the Sheriff's Department. They now have 15 municipalities within the county that have signed on for that as well to share those services and resources. And the board, we just approved additional money to hire 2 more social workers for that program. So that's a program that is born out of McHenry County's leadership role in mental health issues, as well as shared services. And it's a way that the county can develop leadership for all the municipalities around. And it'll be a program that we already know that other counties are reaching out to us about to understand how we're doing it and how it's working. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next question, I'll start with Thomas. With COVID-19 so greatly affecting so many small businesses, what ideas do you have for how the county may be of assistance in helping them survive during these challenging times?
One of my big planks of my campaign is the view of what the county is going to be as the pandemic subsides. My vision is that the county is going to see, that all of the United States is going to see a renaissance, a rebirth of activity. People going out shopping, going out to eat, businesses developing. I want McHenry County to be ready to encourage economic development. I think that they should do things to provide economic incentives to businesses to come here, to grow our tax base, to bring good paying jobs. I think that I think that we need them to provide a program to speed business development to market, and thereby encourage businesses to establish themselves and grow. Okay.
All right. Thank you. John, do you need me to repeat the question?
No, thank you. There's the county did many things during COVID itself, but as we move through that, there's 2 primary things they're working on today. The first is through the the ARAP funds that we received from the federal government, the American Rescue Plan. McHenry County has started Advanced McHenry County, where people can apply for grants. And one of those grants is developed and provided 115 interns to small manufacturing businesses in McHenry County for this summer. Those are people that will have a job in McHenry County for the summer and be able to learn about manufacturing and hopefully keep those people engaged in McHenry County, so when they go to college or trade school, they come back to this area. Another one is we're heavily investing in bringing internet resources to the western part of the county. What COVID showed us was there were many people in the western part of the county that simply did not have access to fast internet services. So we're working to get that done, which will help small businesses as well as individuals. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Gloria?
Well, first of all, I hate to go back, but I think this needs to be said. I don't think the county did a very good job of being a leader when it came to protecting citizens in McHenry County. It's specifically in the lack of transparency that was apparent. I worked in Lake County as an associate director administrator at a facility, and every day they posted the positivity rate for COVID on the 7-day rolling average. McHenry County didn't do that. They posted it once a week. So I think where we can improve, where we can help counties, is we need to partner with them, educate them. We need to follow what agencies are telling us to do. And we need to, our health department, the McHenry County Health Department needs to be partnering closer with businesses and informing them what is safe and what is not safe. Specifically when you look at Valley High Nursing Home, putting someone who's positive with COVID in a room with someone who's negative, that should have never happened. There's no reason why that did happen. And
Okay.
probably,
Thank you. John, the next question. We understand that residential growth is happening in the county. What can the county do to keep up with the infrastructure needs and to ensure the environment is protected at the same time?
Well, frankly, that's a real challenge for the county. And again, I hate to harp on this point, but there's only so much the county can do because most of the development is not happening within where the county has jurisdiction. But what we can do is make sure that from a transportation standpoint, where we have a vision of what the future is going to look like. And the transportation department has a Transportation County Moves 2050 program. They look out to the year 2050 to try and anticipate or determine what resources are going to be needed from a transportation standpoint. They do this by going out to the community, which they did over the past 9 months, holding a lot of forums. They send out questionnaires. And they use all that information to try and develop what needs to be done over the next 30 years as we see growth starting to happen within the county. The Randall Road North End is a big part of that program, taking a hard look at traffic circles, more pedestrian pathways, more bike pathways. All those things are part of the 2050 plan that should enable us to have those resources available when they're needed.
Thank you. Gloria?
Well, I agree with John that transportation in the county can be improved. We can do that by looking at some of our roads. The bottlenecks that I see, or I used to see while traveling to Lincolnshire, going over the bridge in Fox River Grove, certainly there needs to be some improvement there, because if you're on your way to 22 out of Crystal Lake, that's the only way to get there. So we need to look at what we can do there. We need to make public transportation more accessible so that businesses can hire people and not have them have to worry about how they're going to get to work or whether they can do that or not. You almost have to own a car in McHenry County, and there are several other counties where, like Lake Cook, where you don't have to be that concerned about it. So I think if we improve infrastructure, we attract more business. We also increase our tax base, so it makes it easier for us to do those things.
Thank you. Thomas?
So your question was specifically about the development, and certainly to the extent that developments are within the jurisdiction of McHenry County, the county has the ability to require subdivision development fees, subdivision exactions, they're often called, so that the subdivision is paying for the reasonable effect of their development, that they're taking care of the concerns for the infrastructure of the roads, the sewer systems, and so forth. The county is desperately in need of developing Route 47, Randall Road, and Route 31. Those roads are wholly inadequate even today and need to be improved for the very near future.
Thank you. My next question, I'll start with Gloria. If you win your election, on which McHenry County Board committees would you like to serve and why?
Well, as working in long-term care for 18 years, I'd certainly like to be on the board that oversees Valley High Nursing Home. I do believe that I can bring some very positive improvements to the way it's being managed now. I know the county has taken a step to set up a board to oversee some of the decision-making that goes on there, and that's a good thing. So that would be one board, and also the financial, probably on some financial portion of the board. I took a year of accounting. I'm not an expert in accounting, but I do know that if you have an auditor, tell you that there are irregularities in, your accounting for 6 years in a row, and that needs to be looked at. And this is what happened with our Regional Board of Education.
Thank you. Thomas, would you like me to restate the question?
No, I'm fine. Thank you. I would first and foremost wants to be on the financial board with regard to the budget. I think that for as much money as McHenry County has that it passing through its coffers, I think that McHenry County needs to do a much better job of making sure that it's spending its funds wisely, efficiently, and correctly. The county board, obviously, the budget for the county is first and foremost what affects people's tax rates. And as I walk about the community and talk with people, that's the biggest concern that people have is the taxes that we have here in McHenry County.
Thank you. John, would you like me to repeat the question?
Oh, thank you. I would like to continue on the transportation committee that I sit on. I think transportation is going to play a major role in the development of the county. And I think that that's going to be an important thing to be a part of. The second one is the Administrative Services Committee, which I'm on. It doesn't sound glorious, but it does a lot of the backroom work as far as looking at how the board works and operates, looking at a number of contracted areas, and I think that's an important area where things start from. I do want to point out that I think that all the committees that are part of the county board are extremely important. And sitting on a committee is something that really gives you the ability to really delve into a particular part of the county and the business there and really understand what's going on and happening there. There's a lot of work that's done on the finance committee, and there's it's pretty eye-opening once you get into these things, what's involved and what's happening.
Thank you. Thomas, the next question. Are there efforts that the road department could utilize to make the county fleet more green or energy efficient?
I think that the county should be pursuing every opportunity to have electric vehicles. I think that they need to begin now to plan the transition. Like I said earlier, major auto manufacturers are moving to EVs, and the county should as well. That it would have an immediate impact upon the greenness of our government.
Thank you. And John?
I agree that electric vehicles should be part of the county's long-term vision. Sitting on the transportation committee, that's an area that we've been looking at. We've got a pilot program we're going to be doing with some of the county departments. The challenge is miles. Most EV units are only going to go between 200 and 220 miles before they need a charge. And in the case of the county sheriff, they see that on a daily basis. And the county doesn't control what the sheriff does from a vehicle standpoint. The transportation, electric vehicles don't exist for the snow plowing, and those types of areas. So we're really kind of down to a few vehicles that the county uses that can potentially be electric vehicles. And those are areas that we're looking at. And we're looking at reliability and the cost of doing that, and trying to make a determination what's the best way forward. But they're coming and they will be there. It's just a matter of making sure we use our resources properly and correctly.
Thank you. John, the next question goes to you. As a resident.
I don't think Gloria answered.
No,
I'm sorry, Gloria didn't answer. Oh, I'm so Gloria. Go ahead. I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay. No, I certainly agree that we should be, as much of our fleet as we can, be converting to electric vehicles. And, also, see, I think sometimes what happens is that we forget that we don't have to have all the answers. We can find the answers that we're seeking from looking at what other people are doing, have someone consult us on other ways that we can be more green by using less paper, by going to more automation in areas like that. And that really adds up as well. So I would just, like as an industrial engineer, I worked in industrial and manufacturing engineering for 18 years. I could go any place and save money. And, not just paper savings, but real savings. So, have someone take a look at where we can cut these costs, as far as what we're doing with our recycling, what we're doing with our vehicles, etc. Thank you.
Thank you, and my apologies. All right, John, you do have the next question. As a resident of McHenry County, what is the biggest threat facing our county in the next 10 years, and how would you plan to address or prepare for it now?
Well, there's a few things. I think the biggest threat is lack of growth. The county has been stagnant from a population standpoint for about 10 years. And as a county population gets older, that'll place a higher burden on those people from a tax basis standpoint. The county itself is a very, very small part of the county tax bill. It's less than 5%. And so the county uses its resources very, very well from that standpoint. But it's going to be faced, like all the municipalities are going to be faced with, very difficult decisions over the next few years because of inflation, because of a lack of growth within the county itself, and how to go about continuing the level of resources that we're providing to people, how we're going to pay for and do those things. And that's going to be the challenge that's going to be out there. And I think by creating an environment where businesses feel welcome, creating an environment where everybody feels welcome, that's going to help get to some of that. But it's a huge, huge challenge, not only for our county, but for most of the Collier counties.
Thank you. Gloria?
Yes, what I see as the biggest threat is I do see people leaving the county, and I do see businesses leaving the county. And that goes back to what John was saying about the stagnation and growth. It's not that we don't have new people coming in. It's just that balance between people who are moving here and the ones who are leaving is a little unequal right now. And I think we can improve that by improving resources that people have, growing our parks, making public transportation again more accessible, attracting new businesses into the county by giving them some incentives to be here rather than having them feel like they have to pay more to be here without reaping any of the benefits. Thank you.
Thank you. Thomas, would you like me to repeat the question?
Thank you. I think the biggest problem or the biggest challenge and front is with regard to lack of planning. I think that the next 10 years are going to be great opportunities. And if 10 years down the road, the county has not done a good job of incentivizing business and industrial growth, bringing good paying jobs to the communities of building up the infrastructure like our road systems. This county is 10 years down the road is going to be in not as good of a shape as it is today.
Thank you. Gloria, what planning do you believe needs to be in place to make sure that our county health department is ready if we have another big wave of COVID or a similar threat?
See, I think if you do your work all year long, you don't have to worry when the surveyors walk in the door. That's what I told my directors at my previous employment, because they would get all, jittery. It's, oh, the surveyors are here, the surveyors are here. Well, don't worry if you've done your work all year long. So I think the thing that we need to do is be looking at what kind of proactive plan we can have in place. And when something does hit, you're not caught, plan for, okay, for instance, there is a plan to build a memory care unit at Valley High. I would hold off on doing something like this until you have skilled care ready to go. So you would never, if you have the capacity for 115, you should always have like 10% of those beds open so that if you do have a pandemic, you can isolate people and control the spread of the disease. So you have to plan for that. You would never plan for full capacity, and you would never add another unit if the one that you have is not working well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thomas?
So I think that the pandemic has given county health department a great deal of data to unpack in terms of looking at what went right and what went very wrong through this pandemic these past 2+ years. I think that it starts with that and building a plan based upon where the successes were and where the failures lie, and finding a way to minimize the failures and increase the successes.
Thank you. And John?
Well, I think we'd all agree that nobody was prepared for the pandemic. I don't think there was a county, city, state, or the federal government, for that matter, that was prepared for what took place and what happened. And as a result, I think it really came down to individuals and leadership. And Miss Adamson, who's the health in charge of the health department here in McHenry County, I think did a fantastic job in trying to manage this unprecedented event. The last one we had was over 100 years ago. And I think that through that, she has learned a lot. They're currently working with a consultant to help them analyze all the data, look at how they reacted, look at the positions they have, and begin to outline what positions they need to strengthen, what positions they need to have someone on the back burner, and what training and education they need to put together to ensure that if this happens again, they're well prepared for that. It does become one of those things, and one of the big takeaways from this pandemic was, do you spend the dollars before it happens, or do you spend the dollars when it happens? And I think that's a question that government's going to struggle with for a long, long time.
Thank you. Thomas, as you address your constituents, what do you feel are some of the successes of the county board?
I think that the current county board, one of its great successes, and not one that the board itself necessarily wanted to accomplish, was the ending of the ICE contract. I think that McHenry County had no business being in the activity of housing individuals on behalf of the federal government. I think that the county board does a reasonably good job of representing, the members of the county board representing their individual constituencies, the communities where they live. I think that we can do that even better. I think that as the county is moving to smaller districts, I think it's going to be give us more opportunity to provide intimate attention to the individuals that we represent.
Thank you. John?
In the year I've been on the board, I have been pleasantly surprised on how well the county board works together on the vast majority of issues. And I think they have a lot of successes, particularly coming out of the pandemic. And I think their leadership and how they've been using the resources the federal government's been providing has been very, very good. Many governments are taking money from the ARAP and using it to plug holes in budgets. They're raising salaries. They're doing many things like that. McHenry County is putting that money back into the county through the Advanced McHenry County program. They're putting that money back into the program where it belongs. We're expanding internet access to the western part of the county that didn't exist before, high-speed internet access. We've got, I think, 15 companies interested in being part of that program. So the county is doing a really good job in trying to serve the citizens of McHenry County. Like all government agencies, we can fall short sometimes. The ICE contract is a perfect example. And depending on what happens this year with the pride flag. But I think overall the county does a very, very good job.
Thank you. Gloria.
Well, I'll say again, the thing that I'm most proud of that the county has done is for the police department, the sheriff's department to partner with mental health entities like the mental health board and hiring social workers to head up that new department and come to the scene when there is an issue with mental health. So I'm very proud of that move that they have made. I think that this is wonderful. Another thing that I'm proud of that the county has done is increase their partnership with McHenry County College. There's always been partnerships in the past, but I'm seeing more of that now. As a sitting member on the MCC, Friends of MCC Foundation board, there are all kinds, and reading through the county minutes, I know that the county has given several grants to the college to promote programs in machine shop technology and that kind of thing. So I'm very proud of those two things. And thank you. See, my time is up.
Thank you. John, my next question. What efforts could the county do to streamline acquiring building permits?
They've actually taken a number of steps over the past year to streamline that process. However, it's one of those processes that's very heavily paperwork orientated. Not only because most people looking for building permits are looking for some type of variance. And that variance has to go through a process that's not only following county process and procedures, but there's state ones as well. And that's where things kind of get bogged down. They have to go in front of the planning commission. There's a hearing that's held. There's a vote there. And then it comes to the county board. We review those issues. We can only review what was given in testimony. So we're not allowed to ask what if questions. We review that information and then we make a vote. So it's a long process, but it's a process designed that way to make sure that the UDO is being followed properly, that the neighbors have a say in what's going on and happening. And as a result, it is a longer process. And to be honest, I don't see a way of shortening it without not making it fair.
Thank you. Gloria.
Well, again, I would look at what other counties are doing with this process. You know, if McHenry County is doing something that is making it a more bureaucratic process and more laden with paper and administration, we need to take a look at that. And I think through communication, you know, I've known, like I said, I've been in the county since 1976. I remember there was an instance where a company made an addition, and I don't know what happened in that process, but ended up having to tear it down. So something like that can easily be avoided through effective communication. And I happen to know this man personally, knew his brother very well. And I said, why don't you just sit down and discuss this? I'm sure you can reach a solution. But this individual was stubborn, and so was the county. So there has to be some room for communication and collaboration.
Thank you. Thomas.
I think the key is automation. I think that just as we're doing this forum tonight remotely with everybody speaking into their computers, I think you could very much use automation and the internet to expedite and ease the process of filing for building permits, for someone who is seeking a building permit that to provide something online to explain what it is they're seeking, making that available to the community, providing equally through the internet an opportunity for residents to voice their concerns and thereby, like I say, expedite and streamline the process.
Thank you, sir. Our final question, Gloria.
Of course.
If you could add a committee, even a short-term ad hoc committee, what would that committee's function be, and how would it enrich the county?
Oh, I think it would be, I think the finances are something that should be looked at very closely. And so I think it would be some committee that could be an ad hoc committee for the financial committee, where they could oversee some of these things that are going on. Because again, what happened with the Regional Board of Education should not have happened. An auditor who comes in once a year and looks at records and give you recommendations, those should be followed. So if just for a little while, if you could have someone who's a financial expert who would come in and review financial accounts to make sure that that our practices are in keeping with appropriate financial procedures, I think that would be very valuable to the county. Thank you.
Thank you. Thomas, would you like me to repeat the question? Okay.
Fine. I think it would be some sort of a planning committee, and it would probably be relatively short term. And I think I would call it a post-pandemic committee, where just as we've talked about this evening, there are so many opportunities that are going to arise out of where the county goes as people get back into businesses, get back into shopping, get back into going to restaurants. People do more traveling down our roads, visit our conservation districts, our lakes, and our rivers. I think that there needs to be planning to figure out the best way to take advantage of that rebirth, of that growth that's going to be coming. And I think that the committee could at the same time develop plans for the next pandemic and talk about what's gone well and what has not during this one.
Thank you. And John?
I'd like to see a committee that would really explore what is keeping people away from McHenry County. What is it about the county that people don't always think of as a place to come and live? You know, building permits are down in the county. Housing is at a shortage, and really dive into that and look at it, including looking at affordable housing, looking at transportation, particularly public transportation, looking at what things we can do that will make McHenry County more attractive to people. I mean, spending an hour and 20 minutes on a train every day going one way and coming back again is not the ideal thing in the world. But looking at those types of activities and trying to determine what concrete steps we can take short term, and then feeding into some of the other things that are going on long term that help make that all happen.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen and lady, as we get to our closing statements, I will do those in reverse order. So as we begin our closing statements, John, would you please start?
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank you for this opportunity tonight. I enjoyed the questions that we received. And I think my two opponents in the primary, if I can use that word, for the conversation and dialogue tonight. One of the things I would like to point out is that as a current member, being a short member, a year, there's a lot of things that I've learned on the board that I think give me an opportunity and an advantage to serve my constituents. Some of the suggestions made tonight are great suggestions, but some of the suggestions are also misplaced. These are things that the county is already doing, has been doing. There was talk of finances. Our accounting department gets audited every year. They win awards every year for their good accounting practice and what they're doing, what's going on, and what's happening. The superintendent, county superintendent of schools, clearly was an issue and a problem. As soon as I got the first audit, I immediately raised that, and within 2 months of that, 3 months of that, that person was removed from office. So we do recognize when things happen, and at least I do, and try and use my ability to sway my board members to take action. I think that having that knowledge base is very important. It gives you the ability to understand processes and procedures. It gives you the ability to understand what is happening within the county, the good positive things that are happening, but also then be able to focus in on the things that are not happening as well and try and work on those things. And I think I bring that to the table. And I think that the year I've spent on the board, I see both my Democratic, the Democrats on the board that I work with, and the Republicans that I'm able to work with also to get things done. And I think that that's a very positive thing. And I look forward to people supporting me in the primary. Thank you.
Thank you. Thomas.
Thank you. And thank you again to the League of Women Voters for this opportunity. Thank you for all of you who are taking advantage of this forum to listen and hear the candidates. June 28th is the primary, as you've heard. I'm very interested and desirous of serving on the McHenry County Board. As I've mentioned, I want to see economic development in McHenry County. I want to see our county grow. I want to see businesses come. I want to see good jobs returning to this to our communities. I want the best of McHenry County. This pandemic's going to end, and when it does, there is going to be growth, and we need to be ready to take advantage and to seize on those opportunities. If you share my vision for McHenry County at its best, please vote for me, Thomas Pavelko, on June 28th. Thank you.
Thank you. And Gloria.
Well, one of the things that I tell people, being on the Merit Commission since 2001, by statute, when that committee was formed, we had 3 Republicans and 2 Democrats, because it was thought that there were more Republicans in the county at that time. Now, I'm not sure if that's so true anymore. So we may be looking at restructuring that committee. But the reason that that committee was formed is because McHenry County was under a consent decree for racial profiling, for not hiring enough women and people of color, and also for pornographic displays that police officers and jailers had. And so you may not know about this, but this committee was formed because of that until the consent decree was lifted. We had an EEOC officer who attended every meeting that we had and a special attorney that sat on that committee until the consent decree was lifted. And that was a few years back. Now, if you walk into that group today, there are 2 of us who are Democrats and there are 3 of us who are Republicans. You would not be able to tell who is who because we are totally nonpartisan. We get there and we get the job done. We're there to advise hiring, firing, and disciplinary procedures from McHenry County police officers. And so I would like to see that same template on the board. I don't see that now. We had the issue of ICE, and we had 16 Republicans who wanted to keep it and 8 Democrats who wanted it to go away. So if that's not partisan, I don't know what is. And that was not a partisan issue. That was a human rights issue. Thank you very much.
And Kate, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Great. Thank you very much, candidates. Your answers have been enlightening. We hope that the community listens. And the most important part that we all support is that whether it's vote by mail, vote early, or vote on voting day, please cast your ballot. And so thank you very much. This concludes our race tonight. And thank you again. Good night.
Thank you all. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.